the value of places like this is that it accommodates the excess water in the river, gives it a place to go, and keeps the level of the river sort of moderated and not excessive, so that it helps to relieve flooding. But this represents the height that water comes into during the winter time, and what's below becomes blanched, and what is above tends to be darker. And it's a pretty good indication. If you strike a line with that and the lines on other trees around about, you'll get an idea that there's this surface, that represents the ice level and the extent of the inundation during the winter, and we get to note this in the springtime. In the river behind us here, we have a species, riparian species of turtle, the map turtle, that basically has its range, this whole confluence and the river systems around Montreal. They're adapted to this particular ecosystem, and when we fill in places like this and build close to the shoreline, it means that those particular species, like the map turtle, have no place to go. They're essentially dealt out of the picture completely. And right now, if we look, across the river, if we look at the Laval side, we see that there are essentially what look like seawalls. They look like docks that you might find down, down in the Montreal refineries and and people have put grass up on top, and that's all the way along. 90% of the shoreline in Laval, just opposite this site, and of course further downstream from us on Montreal Island, you see this same particular pattern of development, where the floodplains have been filled in. And it does channel the water. It increases the speed of the water, and it raises the level of the water, and creates havoc for places that are lower downstream. As a school teacher, I know just what value this place has to children. Their intellectual and their social development requires places to explore like this. Places where their imaginations can wander, and where they can begin to think in big terms about where they've come from and where they are and where we might be going. And children now are in a situation where they don't get to play anymore. They don't get to play outside. If we ask children to go and play out in the outdoors, they're confronted with green grass in front of the house, and then a sidewalk made out of concrete, and then beyond that, asphalt. And we're hearing now in Dollard-des-Ormeaux that they can't even play hockey in the streets. So this is one of our causes of our children having a problem with obesity and being sedentary and stuck in front of computer and game consoles and what, because there's nothing else. We've simplified the environment that they could get all that stimulation out of, and this has long-term implications for our society. There's a disconnect that is being perpetuated that is going to be very telling in the long term. And I think, we have to start thinking about how we turn that around. And of course, we've got to think that, when people come and have a house built for them on the shoreline, it denies everybody else the advantage of having a shoreline to walk on and to enjoy and to get the benefits of nature from.